I want to tell you about the best modern military game that is out there. The best modern military game focusing on squad level tactics. And it's really good and you should play it, but you probably won't, because this is the best modern military game you'll never play. This game has you select a mission and you're giving a timer to complete the mission. Then you select an objective that you need to do at the end of the mission. You'll go through several locations. These missions can be short, they can be long. It can take almost an hour to complete even a short mission. And you can face all types of enemies. From cartel jungle enemies, that's a weird way to put it, to even insurgents in the Middle East, to third world militaries, like Middle East militaries, and even facing straight up Eastern European militaries with, attack choppers, tanks, all that good stuff. You can fight North Koreans, African warlords. You can fight the Chinese. That's cool. You can play as, you can play as Mexican police. You can play as Afghan National Army soldiers. You can play. There's a game mode where you can play as the FBI hostage rescue team. You can play as U.S. Special Forces, German ground forces, British paratroopers, all sorts of shit. So let me go back to where I was starting. So you'll select your mission, and it gives you a resource point, a time, any other mission modifiers, and then it sets how far apart the mission is from location. So you'll start at the mission start area, and then you pick your objective beforehand. But before you even do any of that, I'm going off on a tangent, sorry. You get a resource point amount, and then you spend those resource points to buy soldiers, gear, weapons, and more and skills for your soldiers as well. You can play with up to 6 other players. You can play by yourself. You can play with 2 other people, 1 other person. And you'll divide the resources as you see fit, and you'll spend them to buy skills, weapons, characters, and other gear. You can get an MQ-9 Reaper support. You can have a Barrett 50 cal. You can get an AT-4, M3 Moz, a Carl Gustav, my bad. You can get all types of weapons, M16s, G36, MP7s, MP5s, M9 Berettas, a K-Bar knife. And you have soldiers who have different resource points. You have 3 different types. You have player soldiers, which is what you, the player, will play as. You have NPS, non-player soldiers. These are your more advanced NPC allies. They come with their own gear, so you don't need you can add on more, but you don't necessarily need to. And then you have squad soldiers, who are kind of more like backseat AI. They have very simple equipment, and you can't do anything else for it. And you'll go through. So once you got your gear selected, your gear how much gear you bought determines on the strength of the enemies. So then you'll go to a location, and it'll have insert this amount of hostile points. And so each hostile has a certain amount of points. So a technical is worth 3 hostile points, and it randomly selects them. So it will be like, you go into an area, you have 115 resources, and at 150 resources it spawns in 7 points of hostile. You could have a technical, an RPG team, and then like a random gun, and then you would fight them in that location. You can fight them far away from that location if you're playing, a long-range person. And it's very high lethal. You can get killed pretty easily if you're not focusing and taking your time. Well, it's kind of a don't take your time game, but if you fuck up, you're dead. And so you'd go from several locations. You could go from a thick jungle, a clearing in the jungle. You could be in the Middle East, be in a combat zone. High-rise towers, urban environments, villages, open desert, all sorts of stuff. So then you get to the objective and you play the objective, and it is just, it's like a race against time. I played one game where I had to stop a drug plane, and me and my team barely managed to kill the drug plane before it left. It's got tons of variety. You can play. It's got tons of expansions. You can play. So it's got a nighttime expansion, which adds in a whole new system for super stealthy nighttime combat. You know, you have regular stealth in the daytime. There's even a PMC version. There's a World War II version too. World War II versus zombies too. And you can combine them if you want to have, you know, Japanese banzai attacks against a US Special Forces squad. There's so much customization, there's so much you can do, and the gameplay is just very fun. What is this game called, you may ask? I'm going to tell you with a quick video. Here it is.
Yeah!
That's right, Warfighter, a modern Special Forces tactical card game. It's a card game, and that's probably why you're not going to play it. Everything I talked about is a card game. They have a World War II version. They have World War II versus zombies. They're going to add a fantasy and near future. They've got, you know, all those things I talked about is there. There's over like 50 expansions. And the main problem is how expensive the game is, actually. So what I bought there, what I have there, that is Warfighter, third edition, you know, just the basic game. And then expansion number 5? No, 4. Or is it 3? I think it's expansion 3 or 4. That expansion is a support expansion, which adds in that MQ9 Reaper I was talking about. And I know that's going to throw a lot of you off, but if you've never played a card game, play this one. This is my first. It's more like a tabletop RPG, sort of. Okay, well, not really. If the only card games you've ever played is like Go Fish or Poker or some shit like that, and you're really into military stuff, you're into co-op games, you're into games to play by yourself, you know, if you like what is being presented, give this game a shot. And to deter you from paying for it, I mean, to deter you from buying it, those two, the game and then the expansion, cost me $80 off of Amazon. It might seem ridiculous, but you know, some people spend hundreds of dollars on dice for D&D, so I mean, it's your choice. Now, if you have a computer and you want to play this game, you can. On Steam right now, there is Tabletop Simulator, which has an expansion, DLC, for Warfighter, the modern version. I think it also has World War II. Don't quote me on that. As far as I know, it has a modern. And that one comes with, like, several of the expansions, not just, like, 1 or 2. It comes with, like, 10 expansions, I think. And that's gonna cost you about $60. So if you have a PC and you're willing to spend $60 for a card game, you might want to get it on Tabletop Simulator. And if you know Tabletop Simulator, it allows you to like physically have the cards in a virtual environment. There is this thing called Vassal. I don't know much about it. I only play the physical game. Now Vassal has DVG's Warfighter. It's by Dan Verson Games, DVG for short. It has Warfighter, so you would download Vassal, which is free, and then you would go to the DVG website, and then you would purchase their Vassal apparatus system, whatever you want to say. And that's like $30, and I think that only includes 3 expansions, but it does allow you to play on your computer. And I don't use Vassal or Tabletop Simulator, so I have no fucking clue how those work. Don't ask me, don't quote me. I'm sure there's tutorials or whatnot out there. Warfighter is kind of a niche game. There's not a lot on it, and what stuff is out there is obscure and old. I fucking love this game. This is a great game. I play it with 2 of my friends, and it's just fucking fun. We did a campaign where we first started killing some cartel members in the jungle. Then we went to the Middle East and fought some insurgents. We did a hostage rescue mission, and then we did an escape mission. And it's just so fun. It's a card game. It's kind of expensive for the physical thing. It's cheaper online, but it is harder to play it online. I don't know how Tabletop Simulator works. I think you can play like 2 people, but if you want more than that, you're gonna have to come up with a system. Vassal is only single player, but what you can do is like through Discord or Skype or whatever, you can do like screen sharing, and then you can kind of play that way with multiple people. I think you should be able to do the same with Tabletop Simulator. I think that's kind of like your only way to play the online versions with more than 2 people, I'd say. Otherwise, you need everyone in a single room to play it on one computer. That would be utterly ridiculous. The instruction manual isn't good, but I would suggest, if you're interested, look up online on YouTube. I mean, go on YouTube and look up like DVG Modern Warfighter playthrough. There's several people. The Gimpy Soldier, I think he's called. He's done like 7 videos on it, all in one playthrough. And he kind of goes in depth to the game, a little bit in depth. It will give you a rough understanding of the game. And then there's another guy, I can't remember his name right now, but he does a whole playthrough in about 40 minutes, I think. But he's also explaining everything. And when I first played, I really messed up. And so me and my friend were not having a lot of fun. But then I watched his playthrough and I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. Your manual doesn't go by a step-by-step basis. So it's kind of frustrating trying to figure out where everything is. But if you watch, it's like new to solitaire gaming, try DVG's Warfighter. I think that's the video name for the guy who does a whole 40-minute playthrough and explains a lot of the stuff. Yeah, it's good. It's a good game. I enjoy it a lot. But if you're not into card games or you just don't want to spend that amount of money, you know, I'm sorry to say, but that's probably the best modern military game you can get out there. And if you have problems with me saying that, go talk to the fucking people making video games. They suck. On that note, I think that's going to be it for this video. The game in the background is going to be Insurgency Sandstorm. Pretty good game, but not my favorite out there. It's okay. Yeah. Warfighter's expensive for physical, and it would be kind of a hassle to play it online, but it seriously is just one of the better games out there. Quick little update. If you're still watching at the end of the video, recently I moved, and my Blue Yeti that I used to record my voice, as of now, it got broken, so I had to wait for another one to be delivered. And so that is what I'm using right now, with a pop filter even. I hope that made this much more enjoyable. Otherwise, go fuck yourself. I'm Apache Gaming 939, and I fucking utterly love the M4A1 assault rifle. It is the best rifle out there for murdering children.